This is a worker, a woman, a female worker that said that she's mad that she voted for Trump because I believe that she got fired. I believe she got fired from her job as a result of it. All right. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Oh, wait a minute. Let's make sure that we're not dusty out here. We don't want no ads popping up. All right. All right, let me go ahead and share that.
Thousands of federal probationary employees was likely unlawful. And now ordering the Office of Personnel Management to inform some of the affected agencies it had no authority to even make those cuts. One of those probationary employees, 24-year-old.
Now, of course, again, this is a liberal organization, or CNN. I tend to think that it's a liberal left-leaning organization. So take that into consideration. Let's see what she got to say.
Michigan native Riley Cooper was just let go by the U.S. Forest Service and shared her heartbreaking story with the Washington Post. You see, Riley has dreamed of becoming a mother. After a doctor told her that IVF could be her only hope of having children, she turned to Trump, who had promised on the campaign trail to fully cover the procedure. It ended up being the very reason she cast her ballot for President Trump this past.
So you were really a liberal, but you were looking for a handout or for Trump to then come in and save you and save your womb and save you so that he'll be able to pay for IVF. This is basically what they're saying. So a lot of y'all got to realize, and honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know. Shout out to Robert Dalton. I appreciate you. I'm not even sure that these people actually voted for Trump. I'm being honest with you. I'm not sure if these people actually voted for Trump. I don't believe hardly anybody. And even with this story, what they're basically telling you is that she voted for Trump. I think she's lying too, Christopher Chapman. She's saying that she voted for Trump because she was looking to get her IVF treatments paid for so that was the best chance for her to have a kid. So you don't really align with none of the Republican values. You don't align with conservative values. You was looking to get a hand up and a handout, and that's why you say you voted for Trump. I honestly don't believe it. I think it's cap. But for the sake of conversation, let's go with it because CNN is really hunting for conservatives that got laid off from the federal government that voted for Trump, and now they're regretting it. So let's see what she got to say.
Past November. Riley Cooper joins me now.
No,
Riley, welcome. Thank you.
Nope. I judge people just from the outset. From the very beginning, I judge people from the outset. I don't believe it, but let's get into it.
Thank you for sharing your story. And I wonder, what was it like for you when you got the news that you were being let go?
It was really hard. I was on the phone with my best friend, Kaylee, at the time, and we were just discussing her life and how things were going. And I looked at my phone and I had gotten a text from our union rep, and he told me that I was going to be fired the next day. And I told her, I have to go. I'm getting fired tomorrow. And my heart just sank.
I'm so sorry this is happening, and the frustration you must be feeling, and perhaps anxiety about what's next. And of course, we're hearing a lot about following the.
How did CNN find her? What was the connection? Was she on TikTok and a producer found her, and then they came through and said, hey, listen, CNN, we need to get in touch with this woman and do an interview? How did they find her?
Campaign in the elections about the mandate that people wanted to see a streamlined government, that they want to be able to right size it in some way and rid of waste and fraud. That was not the motivating reason you were voting for President Trump. Does that impact the way you see any of this?
Yeah, it's hard from my perspective to approach the current administration with hope. I've been dealing with infertility now for about a year. I've had multiple surgeries in my life. So, going into the voting booth, the main thing on my mind was the same thing I'd been thinking about for the past 11 months. And it was, I want to be a mom. And women who have gone through that experience, that heartbreaking feeling of wanting something that you might never have, they understand how much of your time is taken up with those thoughts.
Sound like Trump did you a solid. Trump did you a blessing. If you find a way to wind up paying for it and make sure that your husband got really good insurance, and contact the insurance company to see if they'll pay for your treatment. Because I'm assuming that the fact that you want to get pregnant and you're trying to get pregnant is that you're actually married. We're going to assume for the sake of conversation that she's married. I haven't heard her mention any husband in this conversation. I heard her talking about her best friend. Then she said she needed to leave. I don't hear any, listen, I believe that either this person is a raging liberal that's pretending to be conservative, or they're a paid actor. First of all, I never heard Trump say anything about covering IVF treatments. Maybe he did. Maybe that just went over my head because that's not an issue that's meaningful to me. I've never heard of Trump say that he was ever going to cover all IVF treatments. Ever. I don't hear any mention of a husband. Maybe she will, and we'll come back and we'll correct that if she does, but we're going to get through the rest of this. All of this seems weird. Every part of her story seems weird. So she was with her homegirl, but she's trying to get pregnant. And so the first thing that she did, come on. Okay. So let's just hear the rest of it. I want to hear the whole thing and we're going to go from there.
And how overwhelming and lonely it can feel. So as someone who is more of a swing voter, sometimes that's what it comes down to, is those single issues. Because when you...
What did I just say in the last segment?
Step into the voting booth, you're thinking of what's important to you and like the issues that are resonating with you in that moment. And for me in that moment, like it took me a while, and I made a decision that looking back, I'm not proud of, but it's the reality of my situation now.
Riley, do you now regret the way you voted for Trump?
I do feel regret, and I've had a...
So you feel regret because your department was affected. You were a probationary employee. Your department was affected for government fraud, waste, and abuse, and we can do without you. Because just because you wanted to work for the U.S. Forestry doesn't mean that you're an essential employee. I got it.
A lot of tumultuous thoughts about that day in the election booth.
Cap.
When you're voting on something that affects you so personally, it's really easy to get tunnel vision, especially in a voting booth when you're staring at, you have two options, right? I mean, it's not like you're given an endless amount of options to achieve your goals. And so afterwards, when I thought maybe this is my chance, I also had to come to terms with the fact that I was likely going to be a part of, taking chances away from other groups of people. And that's never sat well with me.
I understand, sadly, you have been getting a lot of hate mail, a lot of negative reaction for even speaking your mind about how you feel since being fired. Can you describe some of that?
People online get very brave. They can very easily say terrible things to you that they would never in a million years say to anyone's face. I've had people tell me that, they hope that I never have a child and that I got exactly what I deserve. And as much as all of the terrible comments have been coming through, I've also received an immense amount of support, especially from women who have gone through IVF, who struggle with infertility.
Again, I don't hear anything in this conversation about a husband. I don't hear anything in this conversation about a man. I don't hear anything in this conversation about any other conservative values other than you expecting for Trump to pay for whatever it is, IVF treatment that you have going on. I don't hear anything at all. I don't hear anything about any of this. I call Cap, and I don't believe her. And more importantly, I think that she's more of a liberal than she are a conservative, but then they always want to cloak it and say that they're an independent that then voted for Trump. I'm not going for it. I don't believe it.